Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 4 sales of Prep for Wave Week. Lovely to have you here again. There are 3 sessions today, but today's session, or this session that you're specifically in, is about differences in sales skills, which kind of stacks up to the other speakers that you're going to hear today about the foundations almost of selling travel, and then how a travel seller has made it to 6 figures, which is a big kind of like goal for many people that are in the travel business. But really, what are some of the discerning factors in sales? And what is the difference in like wellness selling and luxury selling that you need? And also, what are some sales skills that you just need in general in the sales process? There are a couple of the things that we're going to touch on today with our fabulous speakers. So without further ado, thank you so much, Jackie Roby, for being on again and like in our travel entrepreneur world.
I'm so grateful, Rita, to be here. And I love all that you're doing to support the industry and the community.
Thank you. Thank you. Like, this is my little baby event, and making sure that we have differences in voices, opinions, thoughts from all sorts of different backgrounds, abilities is critical to the work that I do, and critical, I think, to making strides in the travel industry.
Absolutely.
Yes. So we had you recently on the podcast, but for those that have not tuned in yet, can you give us just a brief background on how you got in the travel industry and what exactly you do?
Absolutely. So I have actually been in travel and hospitality for 20 years. I started on the hotel side. I worked in global, regional, international sales, opening hotels, boutique hotels, luxury hotels, chain hotels, and then went to the buyer side and was overseeing a luxury wellness program, which is what brought me into that passionate space. And I started my business, Inspire Journey Consulting, in October 2019, knowing that there is so much growth in this space and really wanting to be a resource. So I founded the Travel Can Heal Initiative, which is a space for all of you who sell wellness travel to be available. Use that hashtag on social media so that travelers can find you and find resources. I host the podcast through Inspired Eyes, where we talk about healing travel, mental wellness, and how to be inclusive in travel. And I am grateful to say that I'm a co-author of a best-selling book, The Ultimate Guide to Creating Your Solo-Line Business.
Awesome. Love that. One of the questions that kind of like immediately came from that, because I know people hire you to help increase their sales. So what are common pitfalls that you're finding when people are hiring you to increase either sales, revenue, the like, that they're falling into in the travel sales process?
I think one of the major pitfalls that we fall into in travel is doing things the way we've always done them. And it's so silly because we say all the time that we're not going to do that. But the best way to create something different is to look outside of the industry.
Yeah.
Travel advisors have amazing success on social media. And Rita, I know that you're a huge example of that. One of the things that always gets me is if you hire somebody to basically give you stock images, that's a waste of your time. Might as well not do anything.
Right.
Because I will tell you, I do searches based on hashtags, and I will see that same image across an array of accounts.
That's a whole other thing too, using the same hashtags. But go on.
So what does that do? That doesn't bring anything to you. So much about being a salesperson is not the myth of being a salesperson, which is the old used car salesman that we all fear and don't want to be around, and we're worried about being cornered. Where instead, it's really building the relationship that you do so well and leaning into who you are. people want to work with people they like.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all the reps you work with. It's the same thing.
Love it. Love it. Alrighty. So going into the wellness and luxury space, because I think sometimes it is synonymous that, well, I think some people might think that wellness is luxury, or that luxury means wellness, but it's also two different things. And I just remember that from our conversation on the podcast too, that wellness can actually be a more challenging sale than a luxury sale can be.
Yeah, absolutely. Luxury has this, I don't know, glam, right?
Yes.
This celebrity, this vision that we get excited about. And so if you have the budget to go into it, let's do this. It's finding what fits your personality. But wellness is what fits your emotions. It fits your healing journey. It is not just self-expression. It's what's next. What do you want your future to look like? What are your wounds today?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to call them pain points because that's not what that is. That's not like sell to the pain point. It's the pain that people are actually experiencing. And that's really tricky, right? Because how do you talk to somebody's pain when you're trying to get them to buy? And when you're trying to talk about travel, which we think of as fun and exciting, and it is.
Right.
So the major difference is feeling your way into it. I am a big advocate, just like we do with site tours, just like we do with fam trips. You have to experience it, and you have to understand what area of it sings to your soul. Because if it doesn't, like if you are not feeling energy treatments like Reiki or Qigong, don't try to sell them.
Right.
It's not going to be authentic.
No.
You know, but what is it that connects with you? You could be a spa junkie and know that spa is not all of wellness travel. I think the latest stat was it's 41%. Only 41% of wellness travel is spa. So there's a significant amount that doesn't even have to do with that. But if you're a spa junkie, try new things, right? Don't just recommend the Swedish massage or the deep tissue.
Mm-hmm.
Try the bamboo, the lymphatic drainage, Thai massage, reflexology, whatever it is. Expand your knowledge in the space that brings you joy, so then you can speak to it in a way that's more passionate and authentic and connects.
Yes, I'm loving that, because I think even outside of the wellness space, that just helps to hone in on the types of travel that the individual business owner wants to sell. So is that sports travel? Is that destination wedding? The last destination wedding that you planned, how did you feel about that? If you were on the ground, what were some of the emotions that you had, that you saw other people having during that event? And like just the general feedback that you get from your clients. If you get somebody saying that they want to plan a baby moon and you're like, I don't really like them, why are you selling this?
Exactly.
Because you can't speak exactly to what you were saying. You can't speak onto what their main problem is and how you are going to bring them to bliss or euphoria or wholeness or whatever it is the outcome of the travel that you sell.
Exactly. It was interesting. I was on a call yesterday and somebody asked about money mindset.
Mm.
And I had all sorts of ideas based on healers that I've met.
Mm,
And another person spoke up talking about profit first and a book. And it was a very different path when it came to money mindset.
right.
But that's really spot on, right? So
Right.
if I hadn't experienced those things, if I hadn't ventured into it, I wouldn't be able to recommend it. So the
Right.
same thing in anything with wellness and healing.
Right. Because there's different ways now that you say that to teach sales. Um, and it's so funny because I feel like I'm well-rounded in that sense. Where a couple of weeks ago I was like, what do I really want to be doing with this support business and really connecting with other people? But then you also have to have like that profit first mindset of what's going to attain profit, because essentially that's what sales is that you are getting profit, you're getting generating revenue for your business.
Yeah.
So I guess that's like an interesting conversation to have too. Like, how do you discern from intuition and the bank account and the facts or the reality of what your sales situation, your business situation is, so that you can propel those sales and that they align?
They're very much aligned, honestly, because when you're following your intuition into your joy, you're going to have the right level of energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to attract the right type of business. You're going to be living in your authenticity, which attracts the right type of client
Mm-hmm.
and brings into what you need in the bank account. I think a lot of the times what happens, and I know this myself as an entrepreneur, is we hear all these different methods, how to do it this way, how to do it that way.
Yeah.
And if you're having a wobble, right, your immediate thought can be, oh no, I haven't tried that. Is that what I should be doing?
Right.
Maybe, but also maybe not.
Right.
It's taking it in and then checking in with yourself and saying, is that a fit for who I am? And then moving forward.
Right. Agreed. So kind of going through that, one of the things that helps us sell better is to have the resources that we need through education. And I know we were talking before we started recording, just some events that happen within the industry or complementary industries that can help different sectors. So attending events and looking for those events. But are there resources both but separately, specifically to the wellness industry, but then also just to general selling properties?
Definitely. So if you are going to be wellness focused, Wellness Travel Association is a great thing to be a member of. They always have different resources for education. Wellness Travel University, it's actually the full website, that's the URL, wellnesstraveluniversity.com, is a course that's been created by the people behind Organic Spa magazine. And it is incredible. It's called the Gold Course, and they've just added a mental wellness piece as well. And then there are specific hotels that have added their own courses in there, so you can get even more information about these immersive destinations.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you that I trained travel advisors on wellness
Yay.
in my prior company, and I'm obviously quite immersed in what I do with my business. I learned things from this course. So it's an easy buy-in. And then from there, you're also listed on the website as a certified wellness travel advisor. So you think about all those readers from the magazine have access to you as an advisor. So that's the second one. And then Healing Hotels of the World, absolutely phenomenal. They're the only healing hospitality brand, and they certify hotels and resorts to make sure that they have the authenticity. So all of the wellness washing that we've seen, where all of a sudden people are saying, oh my goodness, I'm going to put wellness on my website, even though I have 2 machines in a fitness center. That's not wellness, people. Not for what your clients need and deserve. So I love, love, love them. they're my main source first and foremost when I'm looking for authentic wellness.
Awesome. And I would say, even if wellness is not what you specialize in or want to go in, I feel like there are, whatever specialty it is that you want to be going into, take some of these resources and be like, okay, maybe it's not wellness travel university, but it's sports travel university or destination wedding university. Just use a couple of the tips and the resources that have picked up, and just tailor it to, and do a Google search and see what's available, because you just never know.
Absolutely.
And then what about for the general sales skills, how people can approach the sales conversation, improve their conversion rates? Are there any resources or tips that you might use?
It's funny. Honestly, I've been selling for so long. I don't know where I would recommend that people look, because I think it's a really personal process.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Nope. Go.
Well, I was going to say, this might sound a little silly to some, but I find that being on camera can really help get an understanding of what something looks like. So if you were to practice maybe your conversation, this is something that happens a lot with salespeople, is role playing, right? So you
Okay.
role play a sales scenario. And so if you can think of a recent conversation that you've had with a client, or something that you're struggling to overcome, and some sort of obstacle, and record it and see how it sounds to you. See if it sounds authentic. See if it's meeting your own emotional needs, and play with that. Because the thing about these pieces is bringing out you in it. There are some people who are hard closers, right? They go in, they ask for the sale, and it fits who they are, and that's cool. Not everyone is. You know, there's classic assumptive close, like, okay, are you ready to book this right now? We're booking today, right? Don't forget to ask for the sale, right?
Very important.
Yep. And be open to receive it, and know that business can come from anywhere. I would say shining in your expertise is one of the greatest things. And one thing that I've learned from travelers, as I promote and talk about the beauty of working with travel advisors, is that oftentimes they don't know all the key benefits, and they don't know the fees, and they don't know what the fees get them. And my recommendation in that space is, whatever your fee is that gives everything, like the whole shebang, you'll never have to worry about a delay again because I've got it covered before you even noticed it happened.
Right.
Present that first. All of those bells and whistles should come first, because that is giving this amazing value. And then a fee that goes with that. That's the value. People knowing that up front, I think, can change the game.
Right. I love that tip of recording yourself. And it could be like, even on a Zoom call, asking the client, if you're doing a Zoom, hey, can I record this just for research purposes of my own? It won't go out on public, or like using a voice recording app. Because I think you'll be able to pick up on certain things that help you sell better, not only like to help with whatever your pitch is during that conversation, but I think it might also help with future marketing, listening to whatever feedback they give you in that conversation. And then also, you don't have to, because I know this happens to me, I'll like get off a call and be like, I should have said this, or I should have said this, or asked this, or... So I feel like, yes, the more repetitive that you are, and maybe even just bounce off ideas with fellow travel business owners, do a pitch to them, or have a sales conversation with them, like a buddy sales system, so that you both can improve.
I love that. Community is key. I think when we collaborate in those ways, it creates a huge abundance mindset.
Yes.
And if you're asking a client's permission to record, you can really simply say, I take notes later on, or my admin takes notes for me.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, you don't have to say anything else. Casual as that.
Love that. Love that. So as we're heading into wave season, where we know that for travel sellers, it can be a bit of a pretty busy time, especially at the beginning of the year. We've just gone through all the hustle and bustle of the holidays, and now, boom, lots of businesses coming in, which is wonderful. But it can also lead to burnout, especially if there's not certain systems in place. So what are certain things that people can do to not just in general burn out, but especially with the sales process, having conversation over conversation?
Burnout is huge, especially in our industry. And for what all of you do, I take deep breaths and have so much admiration and gratitude. I think there's a lot of importance in understanding how we work as individuals.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things that I work with for my clients is human design. And when you understand your human design, it gives you a better picture of how your energy flows.
Mm-hmm.
And that means how you rest, how you receive, and how you avoid burnout altogether. So, for example, many people are generators, and I bet a lot of you are, where you're just going, and you have this sustainable workforce energy, which is amazing. It does not mean that you can't burn out. So it's being mindful of the fact that you're working on things that you love. Ideally, you can delegate things that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
And when we don't have those options, which of course happens, being mindful of rest. Now, rest sounds terrifying in the travel industry.
Right.
It does not have to be a day off, although that's awesome. It does not have to be 3 hours. It doesn't have to be, it can look like so many things. It's what's going to bring you peace. So I have an adult coloring book.
Yay.
I love that. And throughout the day, I might just take 5 minutes and go sit somewhere that I find comforting and color. And it could be between a call, right? I've done that on a webinar before, ending the call that I was on, because you need that little bit of balance. We all know about different meditation apps that you can do. There are incredible breathing practices. Most recently, I have been taught this breathing into my pelvic floor. And I found that really interesting because it's quite a visual and it goes really deep. You're going into the root, and that's where your root chakra is, and that's where your stability is. So if you're doing 10 deep breaths, into that space and releasing the stress, I kind of picture it as like my release is like pushing it even further into that floor. But
right.
That's helpful for me. 10 of those can actually rewire your nervous system and support you there as well. Be mindful of your sleep.
That when I first started full-time, being entrepreneur full-time, that was something I was like, okay, I'm gonna wake up at whatever in the morning because I want to get an early start, And then slowly over the past couple months, realizing that early wake-up calls do not serve me personally because I'm going to be going to bed late anyways. So why am I waking up early than being sleep deprived? And so I think it is like also being in tune with your own personal energy, because that's another thing that I've talked about before is that I like taking afternoon calls as opposed to morning calls so that I can get all the work that I need to get done before I start getting into what I would call the fun aspect, which is connecting with people over virtual or in-person calls.
Yep. Absolutely. And flip side, I'm a morning person.
Mm-hmm.
Earlier, the better for me. So
Mm-hmm.
by 3 o'clock, I know that I am dead to the world. I cannot be my best self in the late afternoon or
Yes.
evening.
Yes. No, and I know there's people in my camp. I think there's probably more people in your camp though. But it's important to realize that and use that as a strength and not a weakness. Because I think for so long that I had thought not being an early bird, like a physical hourly early bird, was a weakness for me. But now I just lie in my strength that I am a
Exactly.
night owl.
You're honoring it. And
Mhm.
that's beautiful. And that's only going to make you better.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. And also that means I'm going to get more rest, which, I have been working at the theater selling merchandise. I'm working Hamilton currently, and I worked another musical last month. And one of the things that I have been thinking about is like sales thoughts on how like that relates to travel business. But another recent thing that I was thinking is the sale of the ticket, while it can be hundreds of dollars sometimes, just depending on what seat you buy and how much money these shows generate in just one night between ticket sales, food and bev, and then the merch that gets sold, and even like parking. All that money, the things that we don't see typically, like you're there to see a show for a couple of hours, is why you have paid all this money. But in order to have that stellar performance from the cast, they need to have hours of away time from the theater, not practicing on their own, doing fun things. They need to have luxury or whatever it is, accommodations, comfortable accommodations, so that they're able to perform at a higher caliber for that performance. And so that's just something that's recently come to me, is like, yes, you're paying 150 or whatever it is for 2 to 3 hours. But in order to have that impeccable experience that you just had in the theater, there's so many more factors that go into it. And these people need to be rested. They need to be practicing. They need to be working on their tools. They need to be investing in themselves so that they can perform at their highest for you. And that's in turn what you need to do as well for yourself as a business owner. Just no labels, just as a business owner.
I love that so much. Spot on.
Mm-hmm. That I was like, if only we could just realize this more often. I was like, I didn't know how I was going to use that. So that kind of like fit perfectly into our little discussion today. So, any final thoughts from you regarding sales and wellness or luxury or just in general?
Yes. So I want you to remember your gifts, why you're doing this in the first place, all the things that you love about it. And we are constantly in this space of doing. But really, we're human beings, not human doings.
Mm-hmm.
So you are just valuable for who you are and who you show up as every day.
Mm-hmm.
Bring that love, that self-love into your work.
Love it. Love it. Such a beautiful note to end on. If somebody is wanting to work with you further, how can they reach out to you or just even utilize some of the resources that you have available?
Yeah. So you can find me on Instagram at Inspired Journey Consulting, on LinkedIn under my name. My email is Jackie at inspiredjourneyconsulting.com. And you can also listen to the podcast. But I would love to have any of you work with me, find ways to increase your sales in ways that are authentic to you, work on your mental wellness, or uncover your human design. All of the above.
Love it. Thank you so much for being here, Jackie.
Thank you.
Thank you, travel business owners, for tuning in. There are 2 other sessions if you haven't already listened or viewed them yet. And then remember, if you've purchased a study hall pass, I will see you between 3 and 4 p.m. Eastern time so that we can talk, collaborate, or co-work on this session or the other sales sessions for today. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.